There we go.
Hey everyone, this is Adam. Hold on, let me start over. Hey everyone, this is Adam again. Right after we finished recording our episode, which is coming up in a second, we got offline and got a text from our good friend Brooks saying that Wes Craven had passed away from cancer. Obviously, it's kind of a huge blow to not only the movie industry, but also the horror genre especially. So stick to the whole episode, and then at the end, we do have a quick in memoriam we want to do, just to kind of pay tribute to probably one of the best, if not the best, horror directors of all time. So the episode coming up, and we'll talk to you afterwards.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
All right, everyone. It's Adam and Andy again, and we are also joined by my husband, Eddie Warfield.
Hey.
So like we said at the beginning of the episode, we did unfortunately lose Wes Craven today. He was, in his late 70s. 76. He passed away of cancer, unfortunately. And he was, to call him a legend among filmmakers and also horror films is almost a disservice to what he's done. I mean, he's invented so many genres and just, taken the horror genre and just reinvented it so many times and made it what it is today. So we just want to spend a couple minutes just kind of talking about some of his movies he's done, maybe our favorite films, and just kind of some cool memories of a really awesome director.
Now, I didn't even know he was sick. Did you?
I didn't know either.
I didn't know either. I didn't know that he was sick.
This was just a huge shock to me, like out of left field, and it's like, whoa, Wes Craven, that's huge. And when I saw that, I'm like, we just finished recording, and we need to get back and talk.
But it's been kind of nice. We had a little bit of a break because, I mean, we've been talking about it nonstop. We just were hanging out with everyone at Geek Show Movie Night, ironically watching bad horror movies. And it was the topic of discussion the whole time, so we've had a chance to kind of reflect and think about it. But I do want to let Eddie talk a bit because as much as I love horror movies, he is the horror movie fanatic. So, give us some background on Wes Craven and what he's done.
Wes Craven has been called the master of horror, and it's really for a good reason. Wes Craven's first film, one of his earliest films, is Last House on the Left, the original, which is a movie that I have watched once and will never watch again because it was so disturbing and terrifying that I just don't want to watch it ever again. It was brutal. After that, he followed that up with The Hills Have Eyes, another really gritty, deep, scary 70s crazy horror film. Mm-hmm. And then in the 80s, he reinvented the slasher film with Nightmare on Elm Street. That genre was dying, and he came up with this character of Freddy Krueger and brought the whole thing back to life, and then did it again in the 90s with Kevin Williamson with Scream.
Yeah. It that was my childhood. Like Freddy and Jason. Like I was 6 years old when Nightmare on Elm Street came out. Mm-hmm. Still knew them. Like that was just my kids are really into Five Nights at Freddy's right now, and I'm like that's what this is. It's like reached that level of cultural salience.
And see, for me growing up, I was, my parents, I was the firstborn.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a little different. It's animatronic.
It's still creepy as hell. But, growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of horror movies just because the environment and whatever that is. But my first job was a Blockbuster. And even then, I wouldn't watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I've watched them a million times now. And for the most part, with the exception of the original one and then New Nightmare, they're pretty campy and funny. They kind of made Freddy into like the, this is prime time, bitch kind of thing. But I wouldn't watch him because he scared the hell out of me. I still remember being a little kid at, walking around like the movie rental area, like at Albertsons or wherever, and seeing that. And I wouldn't even look at the back of the cover because that character freaked me out so much. And like Eddie said, John Carpenter did Halloween, which, aside from Psycho, you could say invented the slasher genre. And then there were so many just knockoffs, and it was a dime a dozen. People were just getting worn out on these movies, and Wes Craven stepped in and made them new again. and made them scary. I mean, go back and watch it if you haven't seen it again, and you really should. If especially in light of his passing.
Nightmare on Elm Street's scary.
Yeah,
it's a
go watch
scary
that.
idea, and it got passed around, and no one wanted it. No one thought the idea of this thing happening in your dreams like would be scary. And Wes Craven was like, no, this is scary, and finally got New Line to pick it up. And it made New Line cinema. That's why we had New Line. It was the house that Freddy built. Wes Craven made that studio.
Yeah, there's a really it covers the whole film franchise, but a documentary called Never Sleep Again. And the first couple of movies, it's interviewing Wes Craven a lot and showing that. But if you haven't seen that and you love documentary, because it's a really cool way to see how this character came to life.
It is really cool. Fair warning, it's 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's a long it's a long movie. But like you said again, in the 90s, we had the same problem where slasher films and horror in general
were dying.
And no one
Wes Craven in '94 released New Nightmare, which was him coming back to the Freddy Krueger series. I wrote this script. I'm coming back. I'm going to direct it. And it was this crazy idea of what if, since we're not doing Freddy Krueger movies anymore, that it unleashes him in the real world, because we were telling the story of this demon and it kept him at bay. But now that everyone's forgotten him, he's suddenly real and starts attacking like the original actors from the first movie.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
And it's
that
funny
kind of flops. And there was another Halloween movie, Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers, from Miramax, and that flopped. And then in 1996, Miramax released Scream, and it brought it all back. And then in the late 90s, we suddenly had slasher movies again, and they were popular.
Yeah, it's so crazy because like Scream and New Nightmare are really the only Wes Craven movies that I really have like sat down and watched attentively and like know them well. But they're so, I mean, it's the beginning of like meta-contextual and self-aware horror that like they know exactly what they're doing. And it was such a great take, like especially when Scream came out and they're like, here are the rules for the movie, and here's exactly what's going to happen. And they tell you exactly what's going to go on. And I think that has informed an entire generation of filmmaking, not just horror, but we talk about the rules for genre TV shows and for superhero films. And we understand that there's these series of tropes, but I think we understand that those exist because filmmakers like Wes Craven put those out there and said, look, these are the things that we do. This is our process. And we're letting you in on them so that we can all laugh at them and understand them, but also be really scared and on the edge of our seat. Like, I didn't know through the whole thing of Scream, like what was going on. That was really well done. And, the series continued to get a little bit more silly as time went on. But
that's inevitable. With horror films, that kind of just look at any long-running series, and with very few exceptions, the second, third, and fourth sequels become campier, become stupider, and that's it. And that's what's great about.
I stand by the Screams. I think all four of them are good.
My favorite thing with Scream is in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when they're trying to they're trying to raid Miramax, and
they're on the tour. They're on the studio tour, and they see Courtney Cox, and they call her Connie Chung and say that she's a bitch.
and they go in and they're trying to rescue their monkey, and it's Wes Craven who is acting in Jay and Silent Bob, and they're
you're talking about Jay and Silent Bob, and I'm going to Scream 3 clubs together.
Yeah, well, they do kind of go together because Muse and Smith were in Scream 3, and that was
Scream 3.
Yeah,
as Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, and so there's that great like crossover moment, and they're sitting there and like it's not even Courtney Cox, it's what's her name from 90210. and she pulls the mask off Killface, and it's the monkey, and she's like, God damn it. And just like Wes Craven's over there like counting money, and just like.
And I just pulled up his IMDb, and I'd forgot about some movies he did. Like he did Swamp Thing.
Yes, yeah.
He did The Twilight Zone, which again it's a fun classic movie. And I didn't realize that in 2006 he did Paris Je t'aime, which is a completely different movie than you'd ever expect a horror master to do.
In '99, he did Music of the Heart, which he got to direct Meryl Streep in. It's about a music teacher.
Yeah, like
she's a professor. She teaches symphony.
So, but yeah, it is a huge loss because I mean, he did so much and like we said, reinvented and kept on changing up the genre. And like I mentioned, if you saw our post on our Facebook a couple days ago, I've been playing Until Dawn, which is basically you're living a horror movie. It's a game on the PS4, and it's really what's so fun about it, especially for horror movie fans, is that the cinematography of the game and the way it's shot and things that are done, you've seen time and again in these horror movies, and there's moments in the game where like that's a Wes Craven shot. Like, you can tell by the way they set it up that was something that he invented and did. So, yeah, overall it's a sad day for film lovers, especially the genre lovers. So again, if you haven't checked out the Scream movies or maybe some Nightmare on Elm Street or haven't watched them in a while, go back and look at them again. We're probably going to put one on in a minute when we get done here. But
if you want to be brutalized, turn on Last House on the Left or Hills Have Eyes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You think the remake of The Hills Have Eyes is bad? The original's just as out there.
Yeah. So again, sad day for all of us, but Mr. Craven, wherever you are, thank you very much for what you've done for us. We've got a lot of enjoyable movies out of your career, and you were fantastic.
Yep.
You'll be missed.
You will. Thanks, Wes.
Thanks, Wes. And everyone, hope you have a good week. And like we said, we will talk to you next Monday.